After a long day of traveling, your party finds a clearing amidst the trees and sets up camp. They gather around the fire, enjoying the warmth and camaraderie, when suddenly a twig snaps, followed by a guttural howl. The first thing we need to do is disassemble our tea light. I purchased the flickering variety from my local Dollar Tree. It came in a 3-pack for $1.25. Using some pliers, I pull the bottom out from the rest of the tea light and make sure the light still worked. I'm going to be doing this throughout the process, just to make sure that if I do break something, I'll notice before it's too late. I'm planning on using this rubber flame later on, so I'm just going to pull that out of the top portion as well. Once we have the base all set and ready, I'm going to fill this gap where the LED lead is. This is to prevent any debris or glue from getting in there later and messing things up. I want the switch to still function once we're done, so I'm using foil to make a protective little bubble around the switch and making sure to leave room underneath the foil that the black switch will be able to move. And then I am just going to fill out the rest of the base with foil and hot glue. With the foil down, I can now add some tacky glue and spread that around with an old brush before dumping on a bunch of construction sand. My hope is this is going to look like dirt once it's all painted up. Any good adventurer knows to surround your fire pit with rocks. So to make these rocks, I found a scrap piece of XPS foam that's about a 1/2 inch thick and made sure that it was about the right size to fit around the campfire. From there, I just used my Ulfa knife to cut out a few different sized and shaped rocks, making sure not to leave them looking super boxy. With the rocks all shaped up, it's time to glue them around the campfire with some hot glue. We are missing a flame for this fire. This is that rubber piece we took off earlier. It has a groove on the bottom that we don't need, so I'm just going to cut this off with my Ulfa knife and then fill the inside with hot glue and place it directly onto the LED light. I got this stick right out of my backyard and I'm just going to break it off with my hands at appropriate lengths and stick them on with hot glue. On to painting. I base everything in this black paint from Apple Barrel. I watered the paint down a little bit and it took a couple of coats to get the coverage I wanted. And then I hit the dirt with a watered down burnt umber and did a quick dry brush of a chocolate color on the dirt. Then I based all the rocks in pewter gray. And I did one rock in a very watery brick red, a watery chocolate brown, and a watery leprechaun green. To tone down the vibrance of the rocks, I'm going to use this black ink and add some water for a wash and then make sure to cover all the rocks with it. Now I'm going to add back the pewter gray by dry brushing with about an 80% coverage. and then a medium gray at about 25% coverage. And lastly, antique white, only hitting the edges of the rocks. For the flame, I'm adding a yellow ink, and I didn't water this down at all. And I didn't like the flame being just yellow, so I added some orange while the yellow was still wet. Here is the finished product. I also wanted to show some of the failed attempts I made before settling on this design. Originally, I was hoping to create a super small version by taking the LED out and using just the batteries, but the only way to turn that on is by inserting the batteries and then pulling them out to turn it off, which is kind of a pain. I think paint or water got in it at some point and ruined the electronics as well, so. In the next version, it was pretty close, but the rocks were just small. Otherwise, I really liked it and kind of based this design off of that. I forgot to mention off camera, I added some antique white onto the burning logs to give them the effect that looked like they're burning, and I'm really happy with how this whole thing turned out. So, now onto the glamour shots.